Retrenchment, restructuring is one of those words that is dreaded by almost everybody who is employed, and even the people who lead. I have been retrenched before, and I have retrenched people before, and I know the pain that comes with it. Now, let me start by saying, before you even think of retrenching anybody, you need to understand what that person is going to go through. Put yourself in their shoes. Imagine it was you being retrenched. How would it feel? For some companies, they can actually avoid retrenching people, and I will share with you some alternatives to retrenchment. But for others, it's not possible for you to continue going. Now, if it's a must that you have to retrench, then you need to do what is called responsible retrenchment. Responsible retrenchment. Let me start by just saying to both categories, it's important for you to understand that your employees don't just come to work because of the money. They also come to work because it's like family, because of the relationships. That's why you see people even volunteering in some organizations. You want to belong somewhere. And there is a fulfillment that comes when you realize that you are actually adding value and you are making a difference in other people's lives. So when somebody stops coming to work, it's not just about the income, but it's also about that network. It's also about the joy they were having, the fulfillment that they were getting every day to say, I'm going to work, I'm going to do A, B, C, D. Sitting at home doing nothing is so painful. It's so painful. Many people will really feel like now they are useless and they are helpless. That's why you need to do responsible retrenchment. Now let's start by looking at the fact that before you do anything, make sure you consult with your team. Talk to your employees. Involve them in the decision making. Sometimes, as leaders, we make a mistake. We think that we know everything. And in some cases, it's not that we think that we know everything, but it just happens that you are under pressure and you don't even think of involving anybody else. But I guarantee you, you will be surprised. When you involve your team, they will actually bring some amazing ideas to the table. All right? So you carry everybody along with you. Don't shock people to just tell them, look, you have lost your jobs, you have to go, it's COVID-19, things are tough. No. Let's do responsible retrenchment. So what are some of the alternatives to retrenchment? Number one, some people might be willing to actually volunteer. That's the goodness of you actually involving your team in the decision making. Because you will realize that your team might actually say, oh, okay, this is the situation we are in. Some of them will say, look, I want to volunteer. I want to keep helping you to see that things happen. When things are okay, you will start paying us. Also, you can do reduced pay. Instead of letting some people go, it might actually be better for you to keep all those employees that you have, but at a slightly reduced salary until things get better. Another way is also to do voluntary retrenchment. You see, you need to look at your manpower planning in the long run. What are your manpower needs in the long term? Because you can make a mistake of letting go some people that you really need. So you realize you say A, B, C, D, go. We no longer need your services. But probably X, Y, Z would be interested to go earlier. Then you are going to remain with some people that you didn't even consult with. You are thinking they want to stay, but probably they wanted to go. So voluntary retrenchment is something that you can think about. You can also think of work reduction. That's number 3. So number 1, we say reduce the pay. Number 2, voluntary retrenchment. Number 3, work reduction. Some people might say, okay, fine. I will be okay with, instead of working 5 days a week, I could work 3 days or 2 days a week. In a way, it means your wage bill will have gone down. Everybody needs to understand it's a tough time. So don't just let people go anyhow. Another one, number 4, is reduce the benefits. There are some benefits that are required by law. And there are some benefits probably that you agreed as an organization. If you talk well with your team, you might realize that people will say, okay, fine, we can do with the reduction of some of those benefits. Why? You are trying to avoid letting people go. There is what to do, guys. All right. And then, of course, number 5, in some cases, you can actually redeploy some of your team members. You move them to departments where their expertise and their experience might actually be needed. Those are some of the things, the 5 things that I think could actually help business leaders before they decide to do retrenchment. Those are alternatives. It could actually work for your good. But let's say it's obvious that your employees, some of them must go. I will emphasize again, responsible retrenchment. Number 1, give your team enough time. If possible, give them longer notice of retrenchment. Give them longer notice so that at least their minds can get ready for it and they can see what to do, try to save a bit of money and so on. That's number 1. Number 2, retrenchment packages. Do something to let your employees go with respect and honor. Let them not be completely shocked that they are going and they have nothing to show for their efforts. Retrenchment packages will be a very good thing for you to do. And number 3, very, very important, organize counseling for your employees that are going. Treat them with respect. Treat them with honor. We have had sad situations where people have lost their jobs and they hanged themselves or they committed suicide in other ways. You don't want to be called to a funeral for your ex-employee that they have committed suicide and they have left a note saying, I've committed suicide because of the way that I was retrenched, which was irresponsible, no respect in it, and they felt helpless and useless, so they had to lose their life. Thank you so much. I hope this helps you. Please, let's do responsible retrenchment when it's called for. Otherwise, let's try to avoid retrenchment where possible. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dr. Wilbert Mutoko. Bye-bye.